Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, Viksit Bharat at 2047, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences, and Well-being. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today is commemorated as International Day of Women and Girls in Science, with the theme and also 2025 marks the 10th anniversary of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, in short known as IDWGS, and the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, two significant milestones in the global effort to promote gender equality and women's empowerment. So, gender equality in science is crucial for building a better future for all. Yet, women and girls continue to face systematic barriers and biases in pursuing scientific careers. So, closing the gender gap in science and requires breaking stereotypes, promoting the role models to inspire girls, supporting women's advancements through targeted programs, and fostering inclusive environments through policies and actions that promote inclusion, diversity, and equity. So, a 2022 study found that 1 in 2 female scientists have reported experiencing sexual harassment at work. A shift in the structure and culture of science workplaces is urgently needed. As women advance in their scientific careers, the gender gap continues to widen. In research management structures, the proportion of women in senior positions remain disproportionately low. In cutting edge fields such as artificial intelligence, only 1 in 5 professionals, 22% is women. Despite the shortage of skills in most of the technologies fields driving the fourth industrial revolution, women still account for only 28% of engineering graduates and 40% of graduates in computer science and informatics. A significant gender gap has persisted throughout the years, at all levels of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, in short known as STEM, disciplines all over the world. Even though women had made tremendous progress towards increasing their participation in higher education, they are still underrepresented in these fields. Gender equality has always been a core issue for the United Nations. Gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls will make a crucial contribution not only to economic development of the world but to progress across all goals and targets of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development as well. On 14th March, the Commission of the Status of Women adopted a report at its 55th session with agreed conclusions on access and participating of women and girls in education, training, science and technology, and for promotion of women's equal access to full employment and decent work. On 20th December 2013, the General Assembly adopted a resolution on science and technology and innovation for development, in which it recognized that full and equal access to and participation in science and technology innovation for women and girls of all ages is imperative for achieving gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls. So women and girls represent half of the world's population and therefore also half of its potential. Gender equality, besides being a fundamental human right, is essential to achieve a peaceful societies with full human potential and sustainable development. Despite some progress in recent decades, with varying success depending on its disciplines and countries, gender equality in science remains elusive. Today, only 1 in 3 scientists in women lack of gender equality in science is not just a problem that affects women. It also limits scientific progress and harnessing a country's development and its effort to build peaceful societies. A powerful speech by 10-year-old on artificial intelligence and empathy. The reason we celebrate this day is to make sure it becomes not a story about an exceptional woman, but a norm that girls belong and succeed in science and technology. Anya Danis Khan, a 10-year-old, shared her version and vision on the occasion of the 4th International Day of Women and Girls in Science at the United Nations. Born in Silicon Valley, Anna learned how to build robots with programming code in an early age. I do worry about girls in science and technology, but even more about humans and artificial intelligence, said Anya. Science is absolutely for everyone. Australia's Women in STEM ambassador, women continue to extremely underrepresented in science, but with the right mentoring networks and support, they can punch through the glass ceiling and do incredible. This is a message from astronomer Lisa Harvey Smith, Professor of Practice in Science Communication, and the Australian government's Women in STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, Maths. There is also commemorated as Armed Forces Day in Liberia, which is held annually on February 11th. And we are motivated to encourage to remember the heroic deeds of men in armed forces in Liberia. It is such a time to celebrate their sacrifices and diligence in the face of grueling circumstances. Liberia was protected by militia long before the armed forces of Liberia was formed. An act of national gesture in the Republic of Liberia declared February 11th as national holiday. Today is also commemorated as Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk Day in US. Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk is a contemporary iteration of the idiom No Weeping for Shed Milk, originally published in 1659 in Paramoigraphy, a book of proverbs by Welsh historian and author James Owen. Proverbs are wise saying offering sage advice and moral guidance for living life well, but not all idioms are proverbs. An example of another idiom is feeling under the weather, which means feeling unwell. So we will never know how many glasses of milk James Howell saw spilled out and cried over before he was inspired to use all these messy little incidents to pen his stage advice. But we can guess it was often enough for him to observe that nothing is ever gained by fretting, worrying over trivial incidents like spilling a glass of milk and small problems that inevitably happen just in course of each day. So worrying and regrets don't change the fact that something happened. Looking back and feeling sad, depressed, or upset can never change anything. The best thing to do when we split milk or make messes in our lives is to clean up the mess right way, the best we can, and then not waste time dwelling on them or worrying about them. By the year 1738, Howell's idiom has evolved as language does and was rephrased as "'tis a folly to cry for spilled milk" in a witty easy on manners and making small talk title. Polite Conversation by Irish authors, satirist, and clergyman Jonathan Swift. Today we say don't cry over spilled milk, although the words and syntaxes has changed over centuries and generations. Howell's sage advice has not only stood the test of time, but it may be more relevant today than when it was first published more than 300 years ago. Continuing to hold on to the past doesn't change anything about the past, but many of us do just that, refusing to let go and let live and get with life after making a mess of some aspect of it. So maybe Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk Day on the calendar isn't so silly after all. We can all use a reminder to pause and reflect on how well we are adjusting and adapting to life's little interruptions and make sure we are not carrying any regrets as baggage along our way. Today is also commemorated as Extraterrestrial Culture Day in US, which is celebrated on the second Tuesday of February and takes place on February 11th this year. The day exists to celebrate and honor all the past and present and future extraterrestrial visitors in the ways to enhance relationships among all citizens of the cosmos, known and unknown. According to the bill that introduced the day on March 21st, 2003, New Mexico's General Assembly passed the House Memorial 44 along with the establishment of this day. Although Extraterrestrial Culture Day specifically originated in New Mexico, today is celebrated in places far from its borders. Any person interested in mysteriousness of the universe, and alien life may be celebrating the day. Today is also commemorated as Get Out of Your Guitar Day in US. Let's be honest, there was a time when we were all played our guitars passionately, imagined a crowd in front of us in stadium under the blazing lights, but life happened and we all grew up together. Probably gathering dust in the corner of your room or in attic. It's okay, we all have been there. Music takes us on an adventure, be it love, heartbreak, traveling, joy, or sadness. The music marks it, makes us feel. Lots of people love different musical instruments, but guitars top the list for most of us. Today is also commemorated as Grandmother Achievement Day in US. It is a perfect opportunity to celebrate our beloved grandmothers. A grandmother is a mother of an individual mother and father, individuals. So, mother and father. She is one's paternal grandmother if she is a mother of person's father, and maternal grandmother if she is the mother of person's mother. So the role of grandmothers in general culture is so rich that they take very active roles in raising and taking care of young children. They are usually as much as optional to children as mothers of those children. In cases where parents are unavailable or otherwise indisposed to giving adequate care to their children, grandparents, especially grandmothers, are seen to assume the role of primary caregivers. In many cultures, and grandmothers often take direct involvement in the care and nurturing of the children. They are usually second degree relatives to their grandchildren. The word for the title had not always been grandmother or grandma. It is a time unclear when this expression title was in much earlier times, but it was not grandmother. The use of prefix grand did not come into the existence until the 13th century. The word grand is a vibrant of the French word ground, which itself is a translation of Latin term magnus, meaning great. In the 13th century, common Old English terms of LD or Eldra were used to refer to grandmothers and, in fact, grandparents generally. According to the world, different terms are used for word grandmother, and these terms vary from country to country and across cultures. The word grandma is the most popular term used to describe grandmothers in many countries such as US, Australia, and UK. However, in countries such as Canada, for instance, such terms as nana, gran, and granny are the words used to address grandmothers. Grandmothers in India are called nana or nani. In Hindi, a person's maternal grandmother is called Parnana, and there are various other names for grandmothers depending on the person and what both parties are comfortable with. In North America, many people call grandmothers by their names. For example, French grandmothers are called ma'am. Other languages have a more specific kinship terminology than the English language, by which to distinguish between maternal and paternal grandmothers. In Swedish culture, for instance, there is not a single word for grandmother, but the term mormor is most often used for their grandmothers. Regardless of whatever term you choose to address, your grandmother by Grandmother Achievement Day is a time for celebrating the grandmother or grandmothers in your life. Today is also commemorated as Islamic Revolution Day in Iran, marks the victory of Islamic Revolution or Iranian Revolution in 1979. It is usually observed on 22nd day of Persian month of Bahman, that is February 11th. The Islamic Revolution was a global event that shook the world in 1979. It is a 10-day celebration for the anniversary of the victory of Iranian Revolution. It all started with Muhammad Reza Pahlavi marched with his 3,000 troops into Tehran and overthrew the government. Pahlavi became the prime minister and was later declared Shah. He promised to restore Iran to former glory of the Persian Empire. During his rule, many secularizing reforms were introduced to Iranian society. This included building secular schools and a European style university in Tehran. He implemented secular laws that existed outside of Sharia and even banned Iranian women from wearing the hijab. So he was also planning to westernize and modernize Iran. The economic conditions in Iran were not improving. Shah Pahlavi also arrested the cleric Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, who had made a speech attacking the Shah. This led to large-scale riots and protests erupting all over the country. The resistance further strengthened as people were opposed to the rule of Shah, so he left Iran. 19 years later, Khomeini returned to Iran triumphantly and led the campaign that completely overthrew the Shah's rule. A few months later, the government had a referendum on establishing the Islam Republic based on new constitution, replacing the Persian monarch. 10 days after the return of Imam Khomeini, until the revolutionary victory is celebrated annually in Iran. Today is also commemorated as National Emergency Number Day in Finland. The date, February 11th, since the common European Union emergency number is 11.2. National emergency number aims to encourage people to identify dangerous situations and prevent accidents in schools, at home, and in public spaces. The day also instructs people to act promptly and responsibly in emergencies and minimize the harm caused. National Emergency Day is also the day to update emergency contact numbers on your phone. The Emergency Response Center Agency is responsible for answering emergency calls, deciding their urgency, and alerting the rescue services. The police, the border guard, social services, or healthcare authorities for immediate and empathetic action. In 2019, a nationwide emergency response system center information called ERICA was introduced in the European Union. The introduction of new emergency response information system made it possible to deploy an intricate model that would respond to emergencies and accidents. The new system is allowed emergency response center services to be carried out with greater certainty and quality, including in mass congregation and disturbance events. National Emergency Number Day acknowledges the crucial work that responders do in keeping us alive. Today is also commemorated as National Foundation Day. So this day is commemorated in Japan. This day acts as a reminder for the Japanese to commemorate the establishment of Japan by Emperor Jimmu in 660 BC. National Foundation Day, also known as Kenkoku Kinen no Hi, is the perfect opportunity to look back on difficulties bore by the forefathers for the foundation of the country. Today is also commemorated as National Guitar Day in US. Every culture has its own style of guitar music, so while it may not be precisely accurate to say anything is universal, who knows what other members of the universe enjoy? Guitar music certainly has its fans that span the globe. It's great to have a day set aside to celebrate the guitar and to remind ourselves of something that we may have taken for granted. Guitar music can inspire and encourage. It's just six strings typically and a box of wood also typically, but the variety of sounds and styles that can emanate from a guitar are virtually limitless. That kind of artistic inspiration and the fact that is created by our fellow humans from all over the world can possibly inspire others to dream bigger and to live better, or at least to learn all the guitar parts of really in the years. Today is also commemorated as National Inventors Day in US. Humanity's inventiveness is what sets apart from every other species on this planet. And it's through our inventions that we see our progress as species. We come a long way in the invention of the wheel, and that's worth celebrating. Ingenuity is a special thing, and it's something we should foster. For every great inventor, there was a community of people behind them that helped to realize their vision. National Inventors Day helps draw light to our inventors, and hopefully, we'll be able to encourage the next generation of inventors to meet their fullest potential. Every country has inventions that they are proud of. As we enter an age of increased globalization, many of our latest inventions come from the greatest minds across different cultures. But looking at the inventions of any given culture can be interesting lens through which to view its history. The process of inventing and learning might be distinct, but they are inseparable. A society that encourages their inventors encourages learning, which is something worth celebrating. Today is also commemorated as National Latte Day in US, which celebrates the delicious coffee drink made of espresso and steamed milk. Lattes are one of the most popular drinks in the country. They have been part of the American and European culture for a long time. They are traditionally served hot, but as coffee shops have evolved, cold versions of lattes began to be served. Lattes are a type of milk coffee that originated in Italy. Lattes are made of base of espresso topped with steamed milk. The drink is traditionally served at breakfast. Italians serve lattes for breakfast with espresso brewed on a mocha pot on the stove. It is served with hot milk and no sugar. It is also commemorated as National Make a Friend Day in US. To rephrase it, there are no strangers in the world, just friends we have never met. We must never stop making friends. That's why National Make a Friend Day is so important. A new friendship can open you to new experiences. Friends can help us through challenging times. They provide us with the comfort of a safe emotional space where we can be ourselves. Good friends are our biggest treasure. Make a special effort on February 11th to meet or just at least talk to someone new. Your life could change forever. Day is also commemorated as National Peppermint Patty Day in US. It is another moment for us to relish the awesomeness and sweetness of this candy bar. Candies and chocolate bars are decadently sweet, and there's a feeling of ecstasy everyone derives from having one. However, peppermint patty is one of the major and most healthy confectionaries. It is made from a simple recipe of corn syrup, butter, powdered sugar, and peppermint extract, which sets them apart. So, peppermint patties and chocolates are sensations in themselves, sweet and yummy. We can't see anyone who would say no to an offer of chocolate spiced up with mint and resist the chilly and refreshing feel that peppermint brings. Combining this with creamy and melty texture of chocolate, and you are in some form of cool bombs of explosive flavor. Little wonder many people love and crave peppermint patties. The history and invention of peppermint patty dates way back centuries. Historically, the making of this bundle of delicious started in Wigan family, who made the first production of the patty on the Isle of Man, or a northern Irish Sea island in the year 1840. This production of patties counted till 1880 when Kendai Mint Cake Company started a large-scale operation. Commercial production of peppermint patty proliferated and spread across to other regionals and regional confectionery companies in 1990. The most remarkable of these companies are York Cone Company, whose first production, called the York Peppermint Patty, became renowned from 1940 till 1972, when Peter Paul bought the company and sold the product for another 5 years before merging with Cadbury in 1975. So the York Peppermint Patty was later acquired in 1988 by Hershey, who was a production play in place to date. February 11 is set aside as the date for the annual celebration of the National Peppermint Patty Day. Today is also commemorated as National Shut-in Visitation Day in US. Due to physical or mental disorders, many individuals throughout the world are unable to leave their homes. These folks might get quite lonely and bored if they do not have visitors regularly. They are no shut off from the rest of the world that they rely on visitors to keep them connected. However, it is common for their loved ones to be preoccupied and forget about them. If you know a shut-in, today is the day to visit them. If you don't, consider paying a visit to a nursing home or hospital where many individuals may be unable to leave their rooms and may benefit from your presence. Today is also commemorated as National Band Day, which is celebrated on February 11th, has most varied origins. And this celebration is among the most significant in the entire world. Band is most famously a frequent suffix in Dutch names. Today is also commemorated as Pro Sports Wives Day in US, to recognize the super ladies who manage and support their home and their sports husband's career. If you think that the wives of pro sportsmen are popular just because of their husband's success, you are wrong. A marriage built in the shadow of a successful sports career automatically overshadows the wife's success, character, and personality. This wife is one who manages the family and her husband's career successfully. In fact, they are the true heroines that deserve our respect and appreciation as much as their husbands. So, Pro Sports Wives Day was founded by the Professional Sports Wives Association, PSW. In 2006, Professional Sports Wives Association is a non-profit and charitable organization for professional sport wives. The organization seeks to organize and unite all the wives of professional sports people and provide information about household management, child care, financial planning, franchise opportunities, domestic violence, marital support, and more. They found pro sports wives to acknowledge their role behind the scenes in life of successful sports players. Wives of professional athletes do more than just show up to the events and appear in television ads alongside with their husbands. Most wives seek no special appreciation for themselves, but use their fame and position to make a difference in the community. They help their husbands succeed in their careers while also managing their family and career. Today is also commemorated as Promise Day in US. It is for you and your partner or a friend to express feelings for each other and to promise to stay by them till the end, both in good and bad times, until the end of the time. Any couple in a successful relationship, what the secret to their success is, and they always say it's keeping the promises they make. Relationships work on trust, which is developed through promises, efforts, and actions. This day gives everyone a chance to celebrate the love and seal the commitment and increase the trust in relationship. We are waiting for the perfect opportunity to express your love to someone or you want to make up your fortune mistakes. Promise Day is a savior. So make your honest promises, sweat your efforts into them, and experience a wonderful world of love with your significant other. Today is also commemorated as Qatar Sports Day in Qatar. This day was started by the government of Qatar upon realizing that modern lifestyle doesn't have much room for getting fit. So this day aims to promote a healthy lifestyle and encourage everyone to undertake some form of exercise every day. So this is a public holiday where schools, business, shops, and offices are closed for the day. Citizens celebrate the day by playing sports, exercising, and encouraging each other to lead more healthy lifestyle. The first National Sports Day event was held on second Tuesday in February 2012. The day had proclaimed by the Deputy Emir of Qatar, His Holiness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, in December 2011. The Sheikh declared that every year on second Tuesday of February, National Sports Day would be observed. On this day, a vast number of government ministries and private organizations encourage their employees to participate in a series of sporting events organized by them. Day is also commemorated as Safer Internet Day in US. So these days you can do almost anything on the internet. You can play games, connect with friends, purchase that new outfit that you didn't think you needed, but now you do. It's an extraordinary feeling to have an infinite amount of access to information and entertainment at your fingertips. The World Wide Web has come a long way from the Yahoo GeoCities, and you have got mail of yesterday year. On February 11th, we acknowledge these vast developments and difficulties that may come with these changes by observing safer internet. Today is also commemorated as Satisfied Staying Single Day in US. Single people can enjoy a day alone or without being involved in a relationship. If you are single and happy that the way, then rejoice in your relationship status. Celebrate Satisfied Staying Single Day to honor your single status and demonstrate your individuality. Today is also commemorated as Thaipusam, which is celebrated annually during the full moon in the Tamil month of Thai in January or February, that takes place on February 11th. This year, it's time to ask Lord Murugan, the son of Lord Shiva, for good health, prosperity, and forgiveness in the new year. So Thaipusam is a combination of Tamil words, Thai, one of the Tamil months, and Pusam, which denotes the Pusam Nakshatram star. The festival celebrates that Parvati gave Murugan a spear to defeat the evil Surapadman. Let's celebrate the victory of good over evil and cleanse our body with positiveness, this Thaipusam. Thaipusam is a grand, colorful festival celebrated to remember Lord Murugan's victory over evil. The story behind the significance of this day is an interesting one. According to Hindu mythological books, Skanda Purana, there was an Asura called Surapadman. He grew up so powerful that he couldn't defeat him, even with the combined effort of all Devas. In a dire attempt to save the universe, they sought the help of Lord Shiva, who gave birth to Lord Murugan with his divine powers. Parvati, Lord Murugan's mother, gifted her son Abel, a divine spear with the power to defeat evil. Lord Murugan headed to the battlefield and fought Surapadman and defeated him with his spear. So he then appeared before devotees mounted on a peacock. Thus, with the Asura's death, the Devas restored peace in the universe. Devotees began celebrating this day as Thai Pusam. Preparations of Thai Pusam start weeks or even months in advance. The devotees condition their mind and body about a week before the festival by extensive praying and fasting. On the day of Thai Pusam, the devotees would perform various acts of penance like carrying a kavadi, some extreme measures of paying thanks to Lord Murugan, including piercing skewers through the tongues, cheeks, and bodies of kavadi bearers, walking through burning coal, etc. Devotees believe that their sins can be cleansed through these devotional activities. They also believe that their life will be filled with happiness, wealth, and health. So Thaipusam is celebrated across the world in countries like India, Malaysia, and Singapore. And this is one of the prominent festivals of the year. Today is also commemorated as White Shirt Day in US. The color white has always been acknowledged as a color of peace and purity. Historically, white attires that have claimed to be exclusivity of upper class to signify high social standing. But more than that, white attire signify white-collar jobs and bosses in workplaces, and white T-shirts mark the radical mode of expression used by automobile workers several years back, making this day one of a kind. Automobile workers banded together under auspices of United Automobile Workers, organizing the Flint sit-down strike, which continued for several months across the country. The workers remained inside the plants wearing neat white shirts like bosses, simply playing board games and organizing lectures and concerts while refusing to work. This was so they wouldn't be replaced during the cause of strike and to prevent violence and poor. This strike crippled the automobile industry for a while, but it also brought a review on the working conditions and workers' pay. This singular act then went on to influence another work sectors and unions fighting for better work conditions. It inspired the government to institute laws to protect workers' pay and basic conditions. Today is also commemorated as Youth Day in Cameroon, which is observed by children and youth from the country's 10 regions. This commemoration emphasizes this new generation's ability and commitment to contribute to the creation of a prosperous and stable tomorrow. Youths have shown their strong resilience and potential despite 4 years of conflict in the English-speaking territories, sustained periods of civil unrest and displacement, violent extremism in the far north region, and a global pandemic with significant economic implications. Youth Day in Cameroon is marked by parades, cultural dances, signing, and sports events. Cameroon's Youth Day can be viewed as a national festival aimed at aligning youth people with common community building, national pride, and responsible citizenship beliefs. The West Cameroon government created Youth Day to replace the country's National Day, which was observed on October 26. Before reunification occurred, West Cameroon's Prime Minister John Du Foncha suggested dedicating West Cameroon's National Day to its youth, on whom the future state hung less than a year after obtaining Independence Day, by embracing French Cameroon. So the Foncha government announced its intention to commit the plebiscite day to the country's youth at the end of 1960. This meant that the Youth Day would no longer be held on October 26 and would instead be held on February 11. By 1996, the Cameroonian federal government had recognized the West Cameroonian Festival as National Day. So on this special day, we urge all the youths in other amazing diversity to make meaningful steps to promote peace and contribute to the advancement of the communities and learn skills needed for life and success in future economy. Today is also commemorated as World Day of the Sick. Today is also commemorated as Thai Pusam Kavadi, which Pusam means star and Kavadi means refers to the piece of wood. It is celebrated by Tamils in India and various other countries, including Sri Lanka, Mauritius, Singapore, Fiji, and Tamil diaspora. The legend behind this festival tells of Murugan and sage Agastya's disciple, Idumban, as the main characters. Idumban was asked by sage Agastya to place two hills named after Shiva and Shakti or Parvati and place them in South India. Idumban attached the hills of opposite ends of a stick or kavadi and set off to fulfill his task. He was marching to the designated location when he felt tired and put down his load. Murugan, who was hiding close by, saw this and made the hills too heavy for Idumban to lift up again. When Idumban discovered that he was no longer able to carry the kavadi, he then saw Murugan and a fight broke between the two. Murugan, who is son of Shiva and Shakti, insisted that the hills belonged to him, and this angered Idumban, who was on a divine mission. Murugan used his trusted spear or veil gifted by his mother to him to kill Idumban. He later revived Idumban, who became his greatest disciple. Because of this tale, anyone who carries a load of kavadi as an offering to Murugan on this day can expect to receive his blessings. Devotees usually carry a colorfully decorated ark to symbolize this or other loads on the kavadi and proceed to temple of Murugan. Those who cannot carry heavy loads can also carry pots of milk, garlands of flowers, coconut, honey, turmeric, and other goods considered sacred and life-affirming. Many devotees perform acts of penance on this day, piercing themselves with small spears and even walking on a burning coal. On the day of festival, a sweet porridge dish made with Bengal gram, jaggery, and coconut is prepared. This is also served in temples. Thai Pusam is a colorful, dynamic festival with many sights to see and sounds to hear. The carnival's attire of the devotees, the peacock feathers, and the flowers decorating the kavadi make for a stunning viewing experience. The spear piercings and walking on hot coal are also sure to leave an impression. Thai Pusam has become a drawcard for tourists all over the world. If you are feeling adventurous, you can carry your own decorated kavadi and share the experience of the devotee. The festival is a test of strength and endurance, open to anybody who participates in it. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us in today's celebrations and commemorations. We request everyone to quickly fill the feedback form before leaving the platform. So see you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night.